Ready to go.
All right. Good day, everyone. This is Roger Rinker and Candace McGlenn and our special guest, Kassy LaBorie today. Welcome back to Keep Learning Strong. This was a campaign that was started to promote learning and the professionals that make it happen. This is I think number 5, maybe 6 in a series of webinars where we're speaking with accomplished professionals within the learning and development space, trying to learn and share lessons that they share with us, with the community that we're forming here. And with that in mind, we ask you to please join the movement. We'd be, some of the speakers that we've had so far, we have discovered through the movement. And so we ask that you either share your stories, or if you have an interest in doing a webinar with us, please let us know. You can do that through LinkedIn, Twitter, and then also innovationsolutions.com/keeplearningstrong. My name is Roger. As I said, I've spent 30 years in corporate HR, leading organizations from the human resources as well as the learning and development functions. And I'll give the floor to Candace to tell us a little bit about herself.
Sure. So my name is Candace McGlenn, and I am with Enovation Solutions as well. Talent development, talent management, my passions, helping people reach their potential. So really happy to be here and to really highlight why learning is important.
Great. Thank you, Candace. And Kassy, rather than me trying to describe you, I'm going to let the expert speak, and you can tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you so much. And it's such an honor to be here today. I work with virtual trainers and instructional designers and leaders all around the world, helping them figure out how to do virtual training. And so that's where I spend my time and my passion. And I'm also excited to be releasing my second book on the topic of virtual event production, which is what goes in hand with trainers and designers doing a great job in this environment.
Great, thank you, Kassy. And you know, I think some of the lessons we hope to learn from you today is that you've been in this space not just since COVID, but from knowing you a little bit way before that. So could you tell us a little bit about you and your company and kind of how you got here?
Yeah, sure. And you know, the wonderful thing, if there's wonderful anything that's coming out of this pandemic, is that people finally know what I do and understand better what virtual training is all about. Maybe you weren't ready for it, but now you've been doing it and you understand, oh, hey, maybe I've been missing out. And so you're right, I've been doing this for the last 2 decades. I started a long time ago as a Microsoft trainer who started working at WebEx, and I was teaching people how to use WebEx. And from there, I began helping people just be wonderful doing training no matter what platform they were using. And so that's what I do in my business today. I consult with organizations all over the world, helping them figure out how to use their live online or web conferencing technology to create effective learning solutions. I also often help presenters present webinars too, so not only in the learning space, although that is primarily where I work.
Great, thank you for that. And you know, the hashtag Keep Learning Strong, when you hear that, Kassy, can you share with us what that kind of means to you? We've been getting a lot of different views of you know, what that particular you know, kind of hashtag or quote means to people. We'd love to hear your opinion of it as well.
Oh, I like it a lot. The first thing I think about is when I'm working with trainers and they're trying to figure out how to be online, they often say, well, in my real class, here's what I do. And so then I say, oh, wait a second. So this one's the fake one? And so this idea that virtual classroom is less than or not as strong. I'm not as good at it here, so it must not be good enough. The first thing that I think about is how can we help people in the virtual environment keep their learning experiences strong and have strong positive beliefs around their ability to be effective in this environment too.
Great, that's a thoughtful answer. Thank you. And you know, I think we would all acknowledge that in the past number of years, the speed of change has been increasing mightily, and then add kind of the COVID to that as well. And it creates quite an interesting environment. So Kassy, can you tell us about kind of how the speed of change and the current environment is impacting your role in your organization?
Yeah, just as we mentioned in the beginning, finally people understand what I do, for those that didn't really understand it, because now they're doing it, in casual settings, and they thought, oh, okay, I get it. But on top of that, just before we go back to that, technology changes overnight, and this ability to be able to connect with people like we are connecting um, is on one hand normal for people, but then on another, very outside of that norm. And you add with the recent events what's happened, and we've been sort of forced into it. And so it makes me think about how a lot of the work I'm doing right now is in the past it was around tool set. In the past, I would say in the past, 3 months ago, very focused on where do I click, how do I make it work. Whereas now we're working more in the place of the mindset, and I appreciate that, because the tools are now taking that back seat, if you will. I mean, obviously we need them to work, but really what's important is how we feel about this and how we think about it. And I think that the speed of the changing of the mindset has happened as a result of being forced to use tools that we didn't maybe really want to have to use in the past, but now we have to, so I guess I will, and I might as well. All right, oh wow, I can do that while I'm here. I didn't realize that. And that immediately goes to the mindset, which is where we need to be. And I'm seeing that change so fast, in recent times especially. And I know, and since I've been doing this for 20 years, I've been waiting for this day in a way, certainly not the negative parts of this, but the resulting changes that are coming, I'm excited for and looking forward to.
Hey, thank you. Any common challenges that your clients or customers are bringing to you now, Carrie? Or Kassy, I'm sorry.
No, that's great. I think you have the regular challenges of just how people feel quite overwhelmed by all the technology. In the current space and environment, what we have is that this is not a normal work from home or work remotely environment. This isn't, it's not as it has ever been, because we're all in this work from home space, whether we were ready for it or not, and so I think a big challenge is, it's obvious that if you're teaching or presenting online that you need to look good and sound good and have, your space set up properly without interruptions like the pets that we love so much and the children and so forth. But reality is, for many people, we don't have the option to even change that right now. And so you have this challenge of learning this and doing a great job, but then knowing that it's not the most ideal setting, if you will. And so that's challenging for people, because it's already challenging. And then you add in what we're all dealing with and how we all are managing through the times that we're currently in. And it just adds a whole bunch. And, sometimes I just want to say, let's not be online, but then we don't actually have that choice.
Right.
And I know the thing that I am really focused on is helping people with how they feel and building relationships and trying to connect in human ways that are thoughtful and caring, because these tools, they change and they're enabling us, but they're not the why. Perfect timing. You
Speaking
did
of
that on
dogs,
purpose.
I'm going to pass this over to Candace to ask you a few questions.
I love it. I feel like we planned it. I sent a note to that pup.
Timing, great timing. So Kassy, you have shared some really great insights, and I love the distinction between, the tool set and the mindset. What other thoughts do you have around what successful distance learning looks like?
I was just talking with a client moments ago about their programming, and their particular programming has always been in person, and so they, like many others, are working with me and figuring out how to do it online now and how to be successful. And we really got into this conversation just now about, well, what's the purpose, to what end? Rather than looking at their programming and what they're teaching people to do and be and how they do that virtually, rather than looking at it saying, okay, what's my virtual version? We've been talking about, well, what do you want people to experience when they are with you? What is your brand? When they're done having an opportunity to connect with you, whether that be virtual or in person, what do you want them to walk away being able to do? How do they feel about that experience? And so I think that's a long answer to successful distance learning, I think, removes the word distance and starts to look at, well, what is a successful learning experience no matter what way I get to connect with you and be with you.
Yeah, the emphasis on experience is important.
Yeah.
And so can you share any advice that you have for L&D leaders or business leaders during this time?
I think it goes back to a little bit of what our theme has been today, that just really focusing on people and how people are doing the best and being the best, and what are their needs, because tools aren't the answer. I don't think. I think the tools come later. We do need the right tool for the job, but it's the people that are doing the job. And so what are the people needs, and how are they feeling, and what are they dealing with, and how can we support them through that?
Yeah.
Like I guess an example for me right now would be I'm teaching another group of people. They're instructional designers and they're learning about how to design for the virtual classroom. And I have one participant who's just very stressed, and she's at least she told me she wasn't getting it. I'm so thankful that she felt comfortable enough to say, I'm frustrated and I'm not getting it. And I'm not gonna, and I haven't connected with her to say, well, let me re-explain it to you. What I'm doing instead is saying, what's going on? How are you? Let's have a phone call one-on-one. What's going on around you? How can I help support you? Because figuring out how to use a piece of technology is not the problem there.
Yeah.
And so how can I connect with her and help her? And we've done that, and we're doing better now. But I just share that as an example of, I think the real problem is whatever we might be dealing with in our lives as people. And so I think as leaders, L&D leaders, we just need to remember that we're here to help. And so maybe sometimes the helping isn't the answer to the technology or the answer to the problem. The problem itself might be just that we just need to listen and be with each other and understand each other and hear. Right.
That's great advice, especially in today's times, for sure. We do need to check in, and it's not just about the technology or the symptom. So what are some of the most important competencies or skills that you feel need to be cultivated in the workforce today?
I think it's the people skills. I don't particularly love the word soft skills, so I'm going to say people skills. It's been a theme for our whole conversation today, being able to communicate, being able to listen. I think too, being flexible, because technology changes so much, and we can't necessarily know all the answers to all the things, but what we can do is be good at being with one another. And so the traditional, I want to call them people skills.
Yeah.
I think that those are the best place that we can focus right now, because we've got all the rest of it and it's going to keep coming at us. And so how do we differentiate ourselves from robots? The thing that we get to do and be as human beings.
Awesome. And so speaking of just, the people piece, right? Self-care is so important. There's a lot going on. So just what have you been doing in terms of self-care during this time?
I'm lost in Netflix. That's the true answer. This is such a wonderful question, because the answer that I give you may not necessarily be exactly what I'm always doing. But paying attention to, and this is something that is very real for me in my life, before even the last couple of months. Paying attention to what I'm eating, how I'm sleeping, and the level of activity that I'm getting outside of this office and in front of this computer. My whole career happens to be teaching people to be in this virtual environment. And so for me, I'm very focused on, and then what else do I do that's not virtual? And so being with family, enjoying things. I'm a big fan of any kind of escapist type reading. So fantasy or escapism, and that follows suit with any kind of shows that I'm going to watch, in the world too. But being out in nature and getting away from the computer is a big thing for me. And it's been very hard to do in the last few months, for sure.
Yeah, important. And so the final words, how do you plan to keep learning strong?
I love this. What is happening for me right now is that given how much I've had the opportunity to be online, to be presenting, and to be working with people, I am, as a result, meeting more people. And specifically, I've recently met some people that are really into the art of facilitation. And so what we've decided to do is form a network of master facilitators. And this is literally days old. We are still in the forming phases of who are we, what are we called, what are we doing? But what we know is that we have a couple of people have come together and said, we love the art of facilitating, and how can we help each other continue to be that and do that? When you're in the role that I'm in, I'm often training other trainers to be trainers.
Yeah.
And so then where do I get inspiration from? At what point am I also an attendee? And I want to seek that out. And so that is where I'm in the moment of learning for myself right now, connecting with others who are passionate about this too, and helping me, see different things and new perspectives on ways that I can grow my own facilitating skills. So that's where I'm at. I'm excited about it too. It's
Yeah,
brand new. I don't even have full words around it yet.
yeah, that's very exciting. I think facilitators and people who do that, well, it is an art and something I certainly admire seeing in others. And so just final words, Kassy has been great. And if you want to get in touch with her, she has a website, kassyconsulting.com. And also, I'm sure she welcomes you to follow her on LinkedIn. I know personally that she posts a lot of great content, especially for now, and she has been for quite some time. So we encourage you to do that. And please share your story. We want to hear from you. How are you keeping learning strong during this time in your organization? How are you keeping learning strong in your personal life? Follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and go to innovationsolutions.com/keeplearningstrong. Any final words, Roger or Kassy, before we close out?
I'll let Kassy go first.
I just want to say thank you for what you're doing, and networking and having people share their stories. I'm grateful for having met both of you, and just look forward to all that you're going to continue to share with us in the community.
Thank you, Kassy.
Great, thank you. I'll keep it short and sweet. As Candace said, please share your stories. Please become a part of our movement and our community so that we can learn from one another and keep learning strong. And with that, I bid everyone adieu and have a great day.
Thank you.